Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. We are back from our hiatus for Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry for the long delay. Some real life stuff happened, and as those things happen, this time with me, it's kind of hard to run a game without me, right? So, um, welcome everyone to session 61 of the Seregen campaign. If you're watching the VODs, you didn't miss anything at all in the last month because we didn't, stream. But last we left off, I guess before I do a summary, we should introduce ourselves, shouldn't we? Make sure that people don't forget who we were. I'll let
Yeah, make sure we don't forget who we are.
yeah.
Who am
If I
I?
recall correctly,
John
I'm the
Valjean.
Banewall. I play Belzian Gilkis, who's a half-elf monk and is currently level 11 and likes books.
Hi, guys. I'm Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Um, thank you. Roger's a wood elf assassin, and he's here to wood. He's here to elf, and he might even be here to assassin. Only time will tell.
And I am the Bane Wall. I play Bill's. No, that's not right. Hi, I'm Shade. I play Ulrich Oakenhearth, the human paladin.
I am Jaeger. I play Yarvik Finissenbringer, a halfling ranger, also resident duck sausage specifically. We must be specific about these things. Duck sausage expert and recent enjoyer of the PAX Unplugged con, which was a blast. So, yay. Got a t-shirt.
I'm Atomic, and I play Zippo, the Cobalt Sorcerer. I'm here to possibly burn a village down and tame a Draco Lich. Jury's still out on the first one.
And as I said, I'm the Wombat of DM. I'll be playing every other character that these folks don't. And I unfortunately did not get to go to PAX Unplugged because they sold out. But it is what it is. So last we left off in session 60, it was a doozy. We continued fighting the Baroness, and potentially were victorious against her. The party did incur a casualty of sorts. Our good elf that is along for the ride, To Kim, is afflicted by the Vargoyle curse, was bitten during the battle. The Baroness herself seemed hesitant, or not hesitant, but reticent to battle with the party, wishing another way, but her queen had given her instructions the opposite of that. So the party did escape the manor that the Baroness lived in, which posed to be its own threat. The Baroness evaporated into mist when they killed her. So the jury remains out on whether she's actually dead or not, since they don't really know how vampires work or how to actually kill a vampire. The party knows that it's hard to kill a vampire, and that they come back. So that's why they got out of Dodge. They, as they were leaving, ransacked the study of the Baroness and found two coins which Zippo snapped in half. Both coins resembled two elves, a male elf that looked similar to Gormier's appearance, and a female elf that looked similar to Ayer's appearance. And from there, once the party left the house, Zippo turned Yarvik into a Quetzalcoatl, and they took off for parts unknown. So that's where we kind of are. Some interesting tidbits within that encounter were that the sword was still active as they were trying to escape, and actively tried to steal the swans out of Ulrich's bag when he stuffed the sword into it. Fortunately, Ulrich caught the ploy and was able to escape but suspects that the vampires might know that the party has both. And that is where we left off. And I'll leave it in your capable hands, adventurers, as you soar through the air. You just have to tell me, what direction are we flying?
So just to be clear, based on pregame conversation, I am currently inhabiting the brain of a Quetzalcoatl, which means I can't really have a part in this conversation, right?
Yep, right now the party is just fleeing and you're being guided.
Got it.
Caca.
Yarvik Quetzalcoatls vociferously.
So I assume we're going to be making it maybe one day's travel immediately, and then we'll get the opportunity to check again later. But
So a couple points. One, Zippo, this spell lasts an hour, correct?
ow.
Pretty sure. I'll double check. But I'm like 80-70% sure.
Two, what direction are we flying that hour in?
Yeah, an hour.
That's what we gotta figure out.
Are we going east? West?
You know what? Ulrich is, maybe I'm crazy for this, but should we not just go back to Aurora? I know that they kind of sold us out, but maybe we can let them know, give them a heads up, things may be happening.
Nah. They sold us out. They can die by themselves.
I kind of feel like they already know things are happening.
Well, I meant more that we may or may not have killed the Baroness, so that could be of interest to them.
I mean, they already snitched on us to the Baroness. Wants to say they're not going to snitch on someone else that we may have killed the Baroness.
As much as I sympathize with the village elder's position, Reynard clearly knew what was going on and was unwilling or unable to tell us.
Yeah.
We won't have anything new to tell him.
Maybe I'm just getting soft in my old age.
Yeah, we'll stab you in the back one more time, and then you'll remember how to be young and angry again. Even if we're not heading towards Manir, we need to get out of the Baroness's territory. I don't think she's going to be willing to pursue us into the territories of a different Baron. And the best way to do that, from what I could tell, is to go south. Exactly which direction of south, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. Southwest will point us in the direction of Manir, which is the vampire capital city.
Right.
And also roughly in the direction of Freehold, down in the far southwest, next to Seregen.
Which will be of interest, yeah.
On the other hand, we could go southeast and towards the slave lands.
And try and raise a rebellion, you think, or?
I have no idea. I wanted there to be two options, but frankly, one of them looks a lot better than the other one.
Which one has the most Draco Lich is what we need to know. Because I want one of those.
Well, I'm sorry, you want what now?
One of those Draco Liches.
He wants a sandwich.
Oh. I don't think you're gonna have a Draco Lich, but
think that will be in the other way around.
yeah.
Well, you never know, you know.
That relationship is probably going to be inverted from your expectations. But supposedly the Waste has such things.
Yep.
So
Sounds like all of our interests are in the Southwest then.
Yep. I say we go there.
Not getting eaten by a Draco Lich is in my interests.
Well, hopefully it's
potato.
it's not a waste of our time.
Yarvik
Hey.
Quetzalcoatl's Quetzalcoatly.
I concur.
All right, so you're kind of circling higher and higher above Malkavia as you are deciding the direction. And I guess Ulrich, you're guiding the Quetzalcoatl in a southwesternly direction.
That seems that way.
Okay. Are you going due southeast? Are you following the river? What's the kind of general?
I mean, I don't think personally, I don't see any value to necessarily following along the river. I think a more direct path as we can, right? Just like boom.
Okay. It's just important because since we're traveling an hour on bird, or Great Terror,
Oh, you know what?
I'm curious what your path is.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, screw it. Follow the river. It's an easy kind of like trail marker. Also, maybe Ulrich has heard a rumor that crossing water is not a fun thing for vampires. I don't know.
Yeah, you have heard that water and vampires, at least when it's running water, seems to be something of a discomfort. At least that's what the stories say. You've also heard about things like wooden stakes and when the the more powerful gods are when the clock face is crossed at the four quadrants of the death and life, fate and luck. The vampires seem to have an aversion to it. That there's plenty of things that you've heard. So yeah, you head south for about an hour, flying as fast as Yarvik Quaddle can carry you, and so you cross the river that you crossed earlier, going over the bridge, and follow along the river. The Malkavia kind of extends out across the forks of the river and into a lot of what seems to be what you would akin to lower income housing out in Seregen. There's lots of farmlands and fortifications, and there seems to be some creatures kind of minding humans as light starts to come across the horizon as day breaks, and you continue to fly south for about an hour, leaving behind any semblance of civilization for the time being. But you can still see the outskirts of Malkavia in the distance as your Ulrich, you get the sense that it's probably been about an hour, and you probably want to land Yarvik before he changes out mid-flight.
Yep, we begin to land.
Okay. All right. So you've landed. Yarvik changes out of Quetzalcoatl, and you are sitting by a river on the outskirts of Vampire Barony.
Just flew in from Malkavia. Boy, are my arms tired.
Well,
Question:
That-
Are
that
we
was
still
intense.
covered with? Are we still covered in blood? Okay, I'm gonna wash that off in the river.
I'm going to press the digitation myself clean.
can you press the digitation me clean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thank you.
I got you. Anybody needs it, I got you.
yeah. Ulrich would love that.
Well, I mean, if everybody else is just gonna do that, then I'm just gonna do that too.
All right.
We're come on, come on.
well-
We're 11th level. We can afford a little bit of magic cleaning.
We've already had a bad experience with river water. So
I love the idea of because prestidigitation only takes does an inch by inch or something like that, so it takes a little bit. I kind of love the idea of using Zippo as a loofah sort of as he
We just grab Zippo and move him
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, do your magic.
The scales can help with that deep cleanse, really get the scrubbing going.
Yeah.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
Oh no.
Anyway,
Zippo needs an adult. Yeah.
All right. Well, so we're all agreed we're going to the southwest.
I suppose we march.
I
Do we have
would
any more of those leaf things, or
I would submit that yes, Southwest is good. But so Freehold, the naming and things that we've encountered tend to be what you see is what you get. So maybe Freehold might not be entirely under the control of the vampires, maybe?
that's our assumption.
unless it's a trap?
From what we've heard, Freehold is a place that escaped slaves from the vampires have fled to, where the vampires don't hold as much sway.
Okay. Yeah, that does sound like the best. If we're staying in Necrata, I guess that does sound like the best idea. That's a long hike, though.
Plus it's kind of closer to Seregen, which would be nice. And actually, Zippo, don't you hail from the mountains of Dis?
Yeah.
So I mean, if we need to high hoof it real quick westward, maybe
We
we
can
could.
completely avoid them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I suppose we could.
I get the sneaking suspicion that Zippo just doesn't want to go home for whatever reason. I can't remember if he's told us this in character.
Probably
Yeah,
not
he
enough
definitely
dragon.
has, which is why I brought it up.
What hasn't Zippo told you?
Zippo says a lot of stuff, but whether we in character actually paid attention the whole time is a different story.
Valid. You don't even know
He-
if he's
he
speaking
did-
the truth at any point in time.
Zippo spent 8 hours embellishing a story to a drunk dragon one time.
That's
and
true.
he had known that dragon for 0 minutes when he started that conversation. He's known us for months at this point.
Hey, that's what I'm good at, I should have took a level in Bard, honestly.
I mean, hey, if you got the charisma.
Right,
Well.
so you begin heading southeast or southwest on foot.
Yep.
Seems like it.
Are you following the river or going across?
I mean-
Probably it's awkward because ultimately following the river means spending much longer amount of time in this area.
I think since we're strangers, more or less, to the area, following geographical landmarks, and things like rivers, probably the way to go. Because we're not
Can
exactly sure where we're going.
I mean, I do think we should cross it at some point. This is a general kind of I don't want to go all the way around that little
Yeah.
bit.
Can
So,
we see the mountains in the distance to the south?
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. I figured those were too far away for us to see.
I would submit that when traveling in foreign and/or dangerous lands, everybody and everything has to drink and goes to water. So if we want to interact with less people in this environment, we should probably not be too near the water too often.
Possible exception, most of the people here are undead.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If the mountains are as far away from you right now as Portland, Maine is from Philadelphia.
What's with
So
all
that-
these fantasy places? I don't know where any of these
That's-
things are.
That's only a good point of reference to 3 of you.
As far as... Okay, fine.
338 miles straight down, and then to the place we're actually going, about the same actually. Yeah, that would take from where I am, like probably to the southern half of North Carolina, or all the
So
way to the corner into Bristol.
if you go to Philadelphia to DC to Philadelphia, you still wouldn't be far enough. Cleveland, Ohio is 308 miles from DC. So
Look, we just hop on the Necrota Turnpike. Yeah, we got to pay some tolls, but it's fine. They have rest stops. It's okay.
Oh, you can avoid the turnpike and save yourself like $100.
But then you got to be on street roads in Necrota, and you know they have no roads budget.
Oh, come on, I-70 and I-68.
God, how
Every
many times-
pothole just
how
has a
many
grave
times
in it.
have I done that drive? Oh my god!
You just go through Cumberland Gap. There's a whole
It
song
is cool.
about it.
It is cool. Cumberland Gap is cool. It is cool to take some time there and go see that.
Okay, well, taking Yarvik's rangerly advice, should we just cut west and hope we meet up with the river again along the way?
I think we cut straight southwest if we can determine that direction, because that puts us most in line of like the way we're actually trying to go, and pulls us away from the river, which might be even if the vampires aren't drinking from it, it's probably a source of commerce for them and
Right.
transportation.
Exactly. Every life gravitates to water, even if it's on life, because they're still going to be moving material along the rivers. Like that's why settlements are near rivers, right? That's why this settlement is near a river. Um, I do think that we probably need to go in a west-southwesterly direction because the idea of a place called the Waste, I don't think that is necessarily the friendliest idea.
I don't think there's any avoiding the waste if we're trying to get to Freehold, but sure.
I mean, if we skirt, there is that unnamed town that is on the border, and then we could head in a more southerly direction to Freehold. This does add days to our trip. I understand. And I also know that time is of the essence, but we don't have a plan. So at any point we can divert south if we decide that we have a better plan or a better idea.
also remember, since you're on foot now, you have no mounts. You are moving at a square a day.
Yeah. Well, Yarvik, you're our tracker. If you think west by southwest is the way to go to skirt as much of the waste as possible, or to leave our options open for as long as possible, lead on.
Tally ho. So that's what we'll do. We're tracking a more westerly, southwesterly direction. Basically, we're going to head for the other kink in the river.
I think
there.
I think from Wamat's perspective, we might, if this hill is to scale, we're going to try and skate around the north side of the hill that rather than the south side.
Correct.
Copy.
I think that's a correct idea. That's the way.
Okay.
If it's not to scale, then I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All
So
right.
what's our general environment look like? What are we traveling through? Like deciduous forest, grasslands?
So this is an open plain. It's not grassland. It's fairly low grass with brush and copse of trees. Fairly open. You can see fairly well around you. The area kind of inclines down to the river from the hills on either side of it. And the area to the north is a little bit more raised up where the rivers are coming from. But across the river, from where you are, you can kind of see the gentle rise of the rolling plain. I think like Little House on the Prairie. This is the Midwest of, or maybe even central of Revenar.
Somewhere between like the Great Plains and the Savannah.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy to track people and not a lot of places to hide.
Yeah, it's another reason. Kind of skirting along those trees for as long as we can. Should we need to find some cover from prying eyes, might be a better idea. I mean, that option's going to run out for us after a while, but if we stay on foot, we're going to be at this. So,
yep, let's get going.
Okay.
We need to worry about Toe. Does anybody have any serious healing? I don't know what they did to
No,
Belzian.
he is going to need some super healing, that's for sure. How you feeling, Toe?
Toe is kind of seeing the familiar signs of illness. In the last hour, he's started getting paler and more sickly looking. His eyes have sunken some. Yeah, he's
Whoa.
he's sweating some.
If he's looking like that, let me just check some stuff.
Sure.
What do I have?
Surely, as a paladin, you can just purify him.
Yeah, there's that, but I'm curious about something. Whether I have the slots to do this.
just out of character, to remember, was Ulrich in captivity when this happened to Belzian?
No.
Was he still with the Axe Clan?
No.
Okay, I was just trying to remember.
Yeah. Right. I forgot. It was the heads that attacked him.
Yes.
I did forget. So that was like a full remove curse.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy. And that would have been a good reason to go back to Aurora.
We won't make it to Aurora in time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, Ulrich can do a little bit here, but he can't remove a curse.
Yeah, you don't have greater restoration or remove curse. You can bestow curse, but
Bestow it, yeah.
Maybe the curse will cancel out the curse if you give him another one.
No, that's what I'm thinking is if we let a vampire bite him and he turn him undead, and then we cast curse, then maybe it's like the Final Fantasy thing, and like healing does damage and damage does healing. Maybe. No?
Yeah. God.
Ulrich
I mean, I think
compels
we have to
duel
have
with the curse. Yeah.
Ulrich is in the rings, and he's just like, I think we're gonna have to have a difficult conversation with this boy.
Yeah, I don't see us having the resources to be able to deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, I can heal him here and there, but after a while, based on what we know is gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we can burn up all of our collective cure spells and potions, and it's going to delay the inevitable. I mean, we know how this is going to go. It was close with Belzian. We almost did not get that in time, and we were in a
Yeah.
better situation then than we are now.
well,
So, if anybody would like to do a history check, Belzian can roll at advantage on this one.
I'll take a history check.
Likewise. Oh, fuck off. Nice.
Belzian with the critical fail.
Proficiency in
I
history.
mean, actually, it makes sense because ultimately you were going through it, so you probably don't remember too much about the incident at this point. It was a little too
The
traumatic
only
for
thing
you.
that was going through my mind at the time was absolute horror, terror, and darkness. I can't imagine he's having any good thoughts right now.
Massive disassociation.
Yeah, Roger and Ulrich are kind of seeing Toe looking like this for both different reasons, likely from their backgrounds. Kind of are at a loss for words as to what's going on here. Like, you're kind of for the moment just demoralized, and you're just like, I got nothing.
preparing ourselves for the inevitable.
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
perceive
You
to
you
be
kind of already kind of got the 7 Mile stare on him, right? It's your old war instincts are kicking in. Jaeger and Zippo are far more practical, having being the problem solvers of the group in terms of the economy. They kind of remember a lot more of Zippo because of spells, and Jaeger because he was trying to find the way to go to save his friend and kind of witnessed all this happen. Zippo washed the dishes or washed the laundry of an entire village to help out Belzian. So, Jaeger and Zippo, you recall that the only thing that really stayed the illness that Belzian was going through was daylight. Daylight spells were used during the night to kind of stave it off, but during the day it didn't seem to progress. It only was when night fell. So that 1 hour of travel while the sun was still rising was enough to get Toe into that visible state, but he's no longer, for now, feeling any more of the progression.
Ulrich is going to just think instantly because he can telepathically communicate. If it does take if we don't find a fix in time, I can at least. I've got enough. I think I've got enough silver powder to at least do one blessing on his corpse to prevent him from turning into an undead for about 7 days.
That seems helpful.
Which is good.
Then we might not have to put him down twice.
Exactly. I'm not
Yeah.
looking forward to fighting a Vargoyle head again. That doesn't seem to go too
Ooh.
well for our group.
We can smash
Those
the
things.
skull.
That reminds me of a
Gosh,
popular book at the library I worked at about a dog called Old Yeller.
Because at best we have the daytime. If an hour did that, then I don't think he's gonna last through the night.
Too soon. It's still too soon.
Do we have
Maybe
any artificial daylight in any way? And Roger looks at the spellcasters in the group.
Nah, I've only got cure wounds or anything related to that.
No.
So here's the thing. I mean, we're talking about this guy, but it's his life. I feel like at some point we need to involve him in the conversation.
Yeah,
That would be
for
cruel.
sure. But I think he's this is all very new to him. He's going to have a lot of questions, and I think we should kind of come at it intelligently. So I don't know. I don't really have anything more to say about the matter. I just wanted to start it off here, as it were.
Wow.
So we should talk to him.
Yeah.
As if I was gonna go up to Toe and be like, "Hey, bud, the issues that you're having, we don't have any artificial daylight, so you might not make it through the night. So
What?
yeah,
Hey.
Belzine had the same issue, and we barely got him survived with it. But you know those things that we fought, like the floating heads?
So
Yeah, if they
Yarvik is
bite
gonna
you,
walk
you
up
become
and
one of
put his
those.
hand on Belt and put his hand on Zippo's shoulder. What our young friend means is that you currently have an illness magically inflicted that is beyond our ability to cure. Do you understand what that means?
Toe kind of nods hollowly. But doesn't say anything more.
So I'm also going to say over the rings, as I'm looking at Toe, we're definitely going to need to make sure that somebody always has eyes on him. Because
Yeah.
people can do crazy stuff. So I'm going to say to Toe, when the time comes, and I feel like we'll all know when the time comes, do you want to let nature take its course, or would you prefer us to take action on your behalf to ease your suffering? Think on it now. The disease is not going to progress much during the day. Think on it and let us know what you think.
Toe's looking you right in the eyes as you say this. But as you kind of meet his gaze, you kind of get the sense that he's also looking through you.
Yep, fully understandable.
This is out, and Roger will say over the rings, "This is cruel. We should give him a swift death, secure our own safety, and give him that mercy. Not let him live out the next 12 hours in dread."
And Yarvik will say, "There's no more personal thing than the last moments of a person's life. Those are his to live. I'm not going to take those away from him until he's ready, or or to your point, until it poses a danger to the group. If we feel like it's going to pose a danger to the group, then we obviously have to take action."
It's a danger to the group now. I can't watch him and the skies.
I mean, we could put him inside Zippo if you're willing. Maybe bring Brunhilde out and put him in the bag, let him be alone with his thoughts for a bit.
But like my stuff's in there.
And you think he's gonna do something to your stuff, or
I'm
I don't
willing
know
to
what
watch him.
Vargals do.
Yarvik is willing to watch him. So if somebody else wants to take the lead, I can watch him.
you're better looking at the road. I'll keep an eye on him. I mean, just in case you're gonna be able to lead us through the wilderness, as it were, better than I ever am.
Yep. So I think the marching order remains basically unchanged from what our normal group is, except we'll put Toe in the middle and, kind of, I guess Ulrich here will just kind of keep an eye on him and babysit him. And then we need to get moving because we're burning daylight. So.
Oh,
All right, so you begin traveling west. About this direction, like this.
Maybe slightly more south than that, but yeah, vaguely that.
Yeah, just in that general direction. As long as we're skirting north of the hill.
Okay. All right. Parsing from the conversation, Roger's going to be watching the skies for any, I guess, bats or other enemies of the party, or just in general. Ulrich is watching Toe, keeping an eye on him for any signs of either turning or degradation of spirit, or anything that might pose a threat. Yarvik and Zippo and Belzian, what are you doing?
I've just head the trail looking for easiest way to get through the terrain that's not gonna overly telegraph our passing, watching for threats coming down the road, stuff like that. Just overland navigation. That's what I'm doing.
Belzin will check behind us just to see if anyone's following us or anything.
Okay.
Zippo's going to be on the lookout for any creatures, like anything like could be like anything he might think of as possibly like a mount, which in Zippo's mind could be literally anything almost, or like anything he thinks that the party might be able to befriend that might help them. He's in a very odd mood for Zippo.
Just posting Natural Explorer for as a refresher. Grasslands is one of my favorite terrain types.
Good on you. All right. So, yeah, Yarvik, you knowing the direction the party wishes to travel, and the globe is kind of assisting you with getting a bearing on things. You find yourself right at home in this area. Kind of, in some ways, if you didn't know better, this could be just another one of the planes within Seregen that you walked in your travels. And you lead the party, keeping them from sinkholes and sudden dips in the terrain that might prove detrimental to ankles, and the like. Most of the plant life, fauna, and flora are familiar as well. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Nothing large like the flora and fauna north in Relic. This feels more like your speed. You still have that general gnawing feeling of unease being in Necrata. It's something that's been ever present since crossing over the wall. Just something that I guess the Shadowlands has as a natural feature. It also kind of to you get the feeling that it's closer to autumn than summer at this point, but it's still in the last month of summer in terms of timeline. So that's an interesting observation as well.
I guess each biome with the wall, they really did over time develop their own unique traits, be that magical or otherwise. I find that fascinating.
So the party Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even to the group, it's like it shouldn't, but it feels like fall, or at least like we're on the cusp of fall.
It's the death in the air. the sign of things dying and withering away. To some people, that's what winter represents, and fall is. But autumn is but the stage between the life and vibrance of summer and the coldness of winter.
True, true. Back in the time when our ancestors weren't sure if they would survive the winter. That's why we have our autumn fests. Whatever the Seregen Autumn Fest is, I'm sure they have them.
In Necrota, perhaps this is as pleasant as it ever gets.
Sobering thought.
Hate to see what a harvest fest is in Necrata.
There there will be a reaping.
Yeah, their Halloween's all like bunnies and happy. You know, their Halloween is just the exact opposite of everybody else's.
Since you're leading, Yarvik, could you roll me 3d20s, please? Okay, awesome. All right. You spot 9 types of birds that you've never seen before, in different patternings. You find several kinds of mushrooms, some of which you're familiar with and you know are edible. 3 of which you know are quite deadly and shouldn't be touched even, because they tend to agitate the skin and could be deadly if ingested. Go ahead.
Just say never fuck with a mushroom you don't know. Never. That's
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
And that would be the last one. So there is a further type of mushroom that is a jet black with a white underpinning that you don't recognize at all.
That looks like death.
Last but not least, as you travel about midday, you find evidence of what might have been at one point cobbled road. You can see patches of it kind of stretching off to the southwest and coming from the northeast. But it's only patches. It's definitely not regularly used.
They definitely had some kind of trade here. I would love to know the history of when the vampires took over this land and what this land was like before the vampires. I think that would be fascinating.
The vampires' rule dates back to the creation of the wall, does it not? Or
That's
back,
I think so. Yeah,
back beyond that.
Yeah, I think that beyond that, I think that's probably one of the reasons for the creation of the wall. And I just seeing the signs of civilization before it, I think that's interesting. But we're not going to follow the road. We're going to keep following, unless the road just happens to be going where we're going. We're not going to follow that road. We're going to specifically stay away from the roads if we can.
It seems to be generally following the rise in the plain to the southeast of you, presumably toward that hill. So it is in generally the same direction as what you're going. You'd be going parallel to it if you go a little bit more north of it.
That's fine. We can stay parallel with it as long as we're keeping an eye on it. But if it looks disused, I wouldn't expect to see any significant traffic. Just random wanderers like us.
All right, it's midday. Anybody have any changes? I would like some spot checks from those keeping watch. So Belzian and Roger, or perception, I should say. Belzian, you're kind of distracted by Toe, knowing what you know of what he's going through. So, despite your best efforts to keep watch, part of your time is also spent kind of chiming in with hang in there, buddy, and things like that, you know?
Yeah, it could be like his last day on the material plane as he knows it. You kind of want to like maybe treat him better. Like, do I have any like treats or rations that taste better than normal? Like,
You tell
load him
me.
up with chocolate. I don't think I have anything out of the ordinary. No. I just pat him on the shoulder. It'll be okay.
Are you genuinely trying to cheer him up?
Yes.
Do you genuinely believe it'll be okay?
No.
Give me a bluff check. Deception check.
Belzian's worst quality. It'll be okay.
All right. Toe kind of is looking around, kind of squinting at everything, and continues kind of walking along. Every once in a while, you kind of have to nudge. You or Ulrich kind of nudge him forward to keep up with the group as he kind of starts to lag behind some. It's not because he's purposefully trying to. At least that's the impression you get. It's more just he's going through the motions. All right. So I assume you continue in the same direction you've been going. We passed the midday point, and we're going north of the hill, so I'm just keeping us west of that. So it starts getting later in the day. Roger, with your perception, you do notice that the road that I assume Yarvik has pointed out to the group. Forgive me if I'm making an assumption there.
Yeah, obviously, I'm doing my overland navigation thing, but I'm also the idea is that I'm communicating either through hand signals or through vocalization or over the ring. Hey, we're going here. We're going to avoid that.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
But
just making sure.
Yeah. It is an active process, even if we're not like talking about it in the group as we sit here.
Yeah. So, being that that understanding, you kind of, while also watching the skies, have kind of kept an eye out on the road. Every once in a while, you see some semblance of ruin. You see in the distance what looks to be closer to the road, maybe a ruined well that's in disrepair, like the raised round wall type, but the round wall has collapsed in on one side and kind of filled in some of the hole from the distance. You can't really see if there's any way to look down into it or anything like that, but it's definitely evidence of there might have been some sort of structure in that area, but you don't see any structure. Whatever structure might have been there has been raised at this point. But As you get kind of later in the day, you see in the distance on the top of the hill what looks to be maybe a settlement. And this settlement doesn't look to be in ruin. It looks to be an actual settlement, though you don't see any signs of like smoke fires or anything coming from the town itself. And it seems to be up on that hill.
So what do we think? My instinct is to stay as far away from civilization as possible, but we do have a terminally ill compatriot, so there's a risk reward. There's a risk reward discussion to be had here.
I think it would be good if we could try and save him.
Joe's an elf, right? Not a human?
Yes, he's an elf.
Then we might have a chance of it working.
If we're going over there, should us non-elves put our hoods up or a hat on, or both?
I don't think a hood's gonna help me.
Oh.
Nah, they're gonna peg us immediately.
Hey, I
Humans
mean-
and halflings are in much more danger than the elves and half elves here, and Zippo is, I think, more a curiosity than maybe a potential runaway slave.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say I genuinely cannot tell the difference between you and Roger half the time there, Zippo. So I don't think you need to disguise yourself.
Really?
And he says that to Roger.
Could we just flip it and could we pose for the purpose of this trip? Why don't we just pose as slaves of Roger? They get like whatever, I don't know, however we transport slaves around here. If they need to like tie our wrists, we can tie a one-way knot or whatever.
I don't think that the elves typically have slaves. Certainly, there were none in Aurora.
True, but Aurora was in my mind, kind of an outlier of this place. But I mean, we won't know if we don't go. So if we're gonna go,
I mean,
Roger, do a history check.
Roger didn't remember shit. No, 14. I did okay.
You did see elves at the Baroness's home.
There are elf slaves. I know that.
They weren't slaves. They didn't seem to be slaves.
Oh.
I think in order for elves to exist here and not be overly messed with, I think they've probably learned how to play ball with the vampires, which means, as distasteful as we think of it, I think they may be involved in the trade just to save their own skins.
Well, if you need me to pose as a slave master, I will need a whip.
No, I don't feel comfortable about any of this, generally speaking. And I think we can just maybe head up there.
Well, alternately, we could leave the humans behind. Within shot of the rings, perhaps, but not into town.
I mean, who's to say that we can't just pass ourselves off as vampires? Are they going to question too much? Are they going to risk it if it's an elf community and they don't have a vampire handy?
I suspect they probably know most of the vampires around here.
Maybe
that's
we're
a
the new
valid point.
vampires in town.
We had a few people talk at once. I think Belzian said something and Ulrich said something.
Sorry, go ahead, Ulrich.
Oh, Ulrich just agreed that's a good point, and you said maybe we're the new vampires.
Yeah. That's why they haven't heard of us, is we're new in town.
It is true that we did just come from Malkavia. However, we don't want anybody checking and trying to verify that story.
I think if the humans or other or non-elven members of the party hold up outside of town within ring shot, so if we need to get in quick, we can. I think that might be a better idea. I hate to split the party, I really do, but
I mean, I'm not gonna fight about it. If we feel better about splitting up, let's do it.
What time of day is it? Like, how long until sunset?
An hour.
And how far are we away from town?
About that. Maybe a little bit more. An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Never mind about splitting the party. There's no sense in splitting the party if we're that close to night.
If town's further away than nightfall, we could be dooming this town by bringing Toe there.
Maybe someone in the town will like recognize it, and maybe they can fix it.
Perhaps, or maybe they'll tell us to do what we should have done this morning.
That also.
Maybe they're in the market for a Vargoyle. It could be like a win-win.
Well, we can try, but I'm not happy about it.
Do you want to make any efforts to get there before night? Or are you kind of just gonna go at your own pace that you've been going?
We can rush there, but there's not but so much we can do, and I don't want to announce our presence to the town in the flashiest way possible. I don't want to ride in on a Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, that's the only way you'd get there before nightfall. Is with a Quetzalcoatl.
I think this is too risky. But if the party decides that we try, I'll do my best to make it happen.
Looks like we lost our voice of reason, Ulrich.
No.
Ulrich
just
no.
wasn't
Sorry, I
really
just saw you pop away on Roll20. I didn't even check the Discord.
Oh no, my computer just went. I'm still down in the basement.
Yeah.
Laundry.
Gotcha. Sorry.
So Ulrich is I mean, look, I don't like any of this, but we're kind of writing off the possibility. Like, he's not doing great, I acknowledge that, but we don't know how quickly he's going to turn once night falls. And we also don't know, we don't have anywhere safe to stay. We may find allies that way. We don't know this. And frankly, we can wander around in the wilderness all we like. We're going to this vampire king and queen, already enemies of them, really. We're spinning wheels here.
You cut out a little bit there.
I mean, we're just spinning wheels here. The cart's not moving. We got to do something, and if what we can do is maybe give this boy a chance to live, I say we take it. Worst case scenario, he turns. They tell us, they can't do anything, and he turns, and we have to do we have to do what we have to do. It's one Vargoyle. I do think that we can handle one Vargoyle before it infects anyone else.
You would hope.
Well, I would hope.
Well, what do the rest of you think?
I say we vote. Yarvik votes.
say-
Yarvik votes that we go to town and we try.
I vote town. We approach with caution.
I vote against.
Sounds like Ulrich votes town, so we're pretty much already guaranteed to go to town.
Well, yeah,
Zippo's going to be
certainly there's a
neutral, 'cause we don't
majority.
care either way.
It sounds like I'm the only dissenting voice. Then we'll do your plan. Let's get going before this kid dies.
Yep. Hey, so we're gonna do what we can, buddy. So let's all pick up the pace. We don't know what we're gonna find at that town, but maybe we'll find something to help.
It's your best chance at survival, kid. And it's more than we thought you'd have this morning. Let's get moving.
Okay.
So can we move at double time? I know that we lose our stealth and stuff. We're not really trying to move stealthily anyway.
So you can move quickly toward the town, yes. I guess questioning motivations at this point. What is the plan? Are we masquerading as vampires? Are we going in as yourselves? What's the general consensus? I heard a few, kind of ideas.
Ulrich and Yarvik need to be disguised in some way. The rest
Ulrich
of us, I
has
think,
a
can
hood.
walk in freely.
Yeah, if they're not overly familiar with halflings, Yarvik's just gonna pretend to be a kid.
You know what? Oh shit. Yeah, no, I was gonna say Ulrich might cut the tips of his ears off. But I'll save that if I ever need to get drastic.
They'll grow back, probably.
Oh, to make it look like you were
An elf the last year.
well, that's an
Although
extreme
maybe-
measure, but we can take it if we need to.
Yeah.
Good to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah. That's exactly where I'd put the tips of the ears if I needed to.
Thank you. I tried to set that one up for you.
My pleasure. We're usually on the same wavelength even if we don't always agree on next steps.
Oh, ready. So, am I still just a kobold, or am I supposed to be something different?
Kobolds should be exotic enough that no one will, I think, be too suspicious. Nobody's first thought will be, oh, an escaped slave.
Gotcha. I am pretty cool looking.
They will go, oh, cool, a small lizard, or ooh, shiny.
You can be
I
like
am
our
very
master.
shiny.
Okay. So the group picks up their pace and begins heading toward the town. The town doesn't seem to have any fortifications except for the natural fortification of the hill. The hill is slightly steep. You can see that the town has a series of windmills on the north to western side of the hill. There's maybe 8 small-ish windmills. They lightly a few of them lightly turn in the breeze of the hill. There seems to be a few that are either no longer functioning or in disrepair. There's 3 of the 8 that are not working. The other 5 turn slowly. In the center of the town, there seems to be some sort of tower. Ulrich and Roger, have you ever, in your travels, gone to a coastal town?
Yeah, absolutely.
Only if the war would have taken Roger there.
I would say if Ulrich has, then you probably have.
Okay.
So, the center tower in the town looks like it's a lighthouse, similar to lighthouses that are on coastal towns, marking the path for ships. Like a normal looking lighthouse, not like a signal fire.
I wonder what those are supposed to indicate. Who would need to see those and what they would be protecting against or watching for?
Along
Maybe
the
dragons.
outline of the town, you also see that there's a church on the southern side of the town, and plenty of other normal-looking homes lower to the ground than the rest of the structures that I've mentioned.
Okay, so first things first, we should go to the church. But I wonder if because this area looks a bit like a floodplain with how much the river meanders in this part of the world, I wonder if when it floods, it rises very high. And perhaps the vampires use this area as something like a temporary inland sea, thus necessitating the lighthouse.
That's a very good theory.
But yeah, we should go to the church. That's our best bet for a healer, I think.
We can only pray that the 12 provide.
Is it a church to one of the 12 in particular, or for the pantheon as a whole?
You cannot tell from the distance that you're at. It just has all the markings of a church in the outline of the town.
Okay.
I'm giving you a general impression before you've actually gone in.
Gotcha. Onward. Are our disguises in place? And Roger looks at Yarvik and Ulrich.
So no magical disguises of any kind, just kind of the normal, like tucking ears and hats and things like that. Correct? Just double checking.
Should be.
Is anybody gonna make a performance check for that at all? To kind of aid
Sorry,
that?
you cut out a little bit for me. I'm sure it was just me, but what did you say?
Is anybody taking any actions to change their appearance at all in terms of like an actual skill check, like disguise, and by disguise I mean deception or performance.
Other than his hood up, I don't think he's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. Yarvik's just gonna put his hood up, keep his head down.
Yep.
And if we need to lie, let me do the talking.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea that we switch up as we get there, so that Roger's kind of in the front. So the first I think they see is definitely an elf.
Fair enough. And I guess we approach the town.
All right. As the low light sets in, as the sun sets, It kind of lasts a little bit longer because you're kind of going up the hill, but it's especially because you're in a plane. There's just nothing obstructing the sun, so the sunset just lasts a bit longer. You kind of approach the town going up the hill. It's kind of a steady climb. It's not like a hard climb where you have to go up on your hands and legs, but you're kind of like right, to get up. It's hard work. So you're kind of more breathless as you get to the top. And the first thing that you notice is that the town is quite quiet. There is nobody out as night is falling. Nobody in the streets. No lights coming through windows. The windows, many of them appear to be boarded up, or their curtains are drawn with thick leather drawn curtains that seal against the window. Doors are closed. Some shutters are even hooked. The town is quiet as death.
Yeah, I think Ulrich, if he sees that blinds are like plastered against the window, may in the rings just go, "Hey, maybe this is a bad idea, and we should turn around real fast."
Might be a little late for that.
Well, one thing's for
Maybe
sure.
they're just sleeping.
We're gonna get a result.
Yeah.
We're already exposed to the risk. There's no point in turning back now.
That is, I think they call that a sunk cost fallacy. But all right, let's do it.
Let's go up to the church.
Yep.
At this point, do you recognize any symbology on the church?
Or
Are we
elsewhere,
able to make
for
like
that matter.
able to make like a religion check to determine the denomination of church?
So you're making your way through the town to the church, or are you staying along the outskirts?
Let's go through. We're already here.
We've committed to bad decisionville. Let's try and get the good out of it now that we're here.
Okay. Despite the quietness of the town, it does seem to be one second. All right. So, you make your way through the town. Anybody making any efforts to kind of get a sense of anything as you go through, or you're just kind of beelining it to the church as much as you can?
I think while we're on the way to the church, I want to kind of get a feel for maybe how recently people have been here. Like there probably are tracks and such, but is this literally a ghost town? Has nobody been here in a long time, or was there activity recently? Is this a place that people live? But I roll investigation, insight, perception.
Let's do perception. Investigation, you'd probably be poking at things, or looking into. You know what I mean? You're kind of getting a general sense, right?
Gotcha. Oh, with Roger's quick look around, he gets a 24.
All right. So you're just if you could repeat your question real quick, just so I get answer it.
Kind of getting a look to see how recently have other people been here. Are there fresh footsteps, signs of movement, or is everything covered in dust and cobwebs?
The town seems to be like the ground isn't like dusty. You see some semblance of footprints that are recent. So you do see evidence of people having been there recently. It's not like the town is abandoned. You would also gather that if the town was left abandoned, that homes wouldn't be as shut tight as they are in such a way from the inside.
Depends on how they died.
Fair. But, I mean, you're judging this based off of past experience. This looks like a town that has people in it. They're not
Sure.
currently visible, but yeah. It's not like you're going into a basement and you see a thick layer of dust, right? And,
Gotcha.
I mean, there are
Well-
cobwebs and signs of disrepair. Things have definitely not been as upkept as you would expect for a lived-in town, but also seeing the disrepair of some of the lesser folk in Malkavia, this could also be part of that as well.
Or just where Roger grew up in Seregen.
Yeah, fair.
Well, seems lived in enough. Not a literal ghost town. To the church.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since the church is on the southern side and you came from mostly the northern side of the village, you passed through a good bit of it. The tower does seem to be kind of in the town center. There is an open market area, though all the stalls are empty, and don't show any evidence of having been used recently. These you can see more cobwebs and rotting wood. If this town used to have a verdant market, it is no longer used for such. The lighthouse stands in the center of the town, and this looks to be the structure that's in most disrepair. The door is no longer on its hinges and has rotted away, but it looks like it has been quite damaged as well. The rot kind of started from that damage, and then the door kind of fell into disrepair from there. You see that there is a staircase of stone spiraling up through the opening, and the glass housing at the top, most of the windows have a shattered look about them. There is some glass still in some of the panes, but for the most part, it's probably the most damaged structure here.
We can investigate the lighthouse after we get towed to the church.
Okay. The church itself is a bit more. Toe at this point is clutching his head in pain again and doing his best to stifle his cries of anguish. Since currently it's not, he's not in the grips of like the end point of the curse, just the beginning. He's relatively quiet and whimpering for now. Belzian, you are not liking those sounds.
Belzian sweats visibly.
The church comes into view, and you can see markings of the familiar clock face gods, though the clock is slightly different in appearance. The third orientation is on top. So Fate is to the westernmost setting, and Saren is on the. So Tolv is on the left, Saren is on the right, and Tolu is on top in this church.
This church may not be a place of salvation, but instead one of rest. But we might as well try.
Yep.
If there's, I'll maybe knock quietly and then try the door.
Sure.
And if the door doesn't open, knock loudly.
You knock quietly on the door as you come around. The door is facing the town itself, so the back of the church is toward the edge of town. The church has a gate around it, though there is no cemetery in or around the building itself. The stained glass windows are ornate and undamaged. The door itself is a solid oak. Your rapping on the door echoes into the building. The door does not open nor heed your knock in any way.
Well, there's no one here.
Try before you pry. Is the door open?
Are you pulling or pushing?
Are there hinges?
In that order.
There are round rungs on the door. That could be either for pushing or being pulled closed. Or no, for pulling open or for pulling it closed once they're open. So you try pulling first and then pushing? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
We'll try pushing first.
Okay. The door's pushing.
Dang, I was gonna say maybe plot twist it doesn't pull or push, it slides to the side.
No, I already did that one in the trials.
Yeah. The
Took you folks about 15 minutes.
Vampires struggle to enter buildings without permission, but so somebody might want to be able to talk to the vampires and give them a view without inviting them inside. And opening in is the best way to do that.
All right, the doors open, and inside you can see the interior of the church. There are no lights inside, and we're gonna end session, or not end session, end the first half of the session here. So let's go on our 10-minute break. It is 9 o'clock, so we'll be back at 9:10. Tune in to see what happens next. Welcome back from the break. We are, well, back and entering the church. Excuse me. All right. So I described what you see. The interior of the church is dark. You can see into it. You don't see any persons standing in the darkness. You see that there is an antechamber before it opens up into a sanctuary area.
I will take the step in, I guess, and Ulrich will step in.
Okay. How far in do you go?
I mean, he'll go as far in as he can see.
So as it's getting dark and there is no lights and no dark vision, that's not very far.
Okay, he'll go in. He'll light a torch.
Okay. Awesome. All right. The torch illuminates the church. You can see that the antechamber stretches up above you. You see a rope tied to a peg to your right that leads up to what looks like a series of bells. There is a door on either side of this antechamber, and then the large opening that leads to the sanctuary. The sanctuary itself has rows of seats, a red carpet that leads down the middle aisle, before it splits into 2 rows toward the front, with 3 rows of pews, 2 on either end, and then 1 row in the middle. You can just barely make out what might be an altar area with the same symbol that you witnessed outside of the 12 cattywampus.
How far back? Like, what's the rough dimensions that I can see in?
The church, so you can see 60 feet out. The church seems to continue on. The sanctuary is at least 60 feet, but at least 10 feet more than that, maybe more. You can't tell because you can't see the back of the wall.
He'll do a divine sense, which just gives him a chance to sense whether there are any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that aren't behind total cover.
Okay. Okay. So let's look at that. Okay. Strong evil registers on your sense like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. So, for example, the vampire Count Strahd, for instance, you wouldn't know that he's Strahd, you just know that he's undead, right? Within the same radius, you can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hollow spell. Okay, so I'm going to start with that last part. Being that it's a church, you would assume that this church is consecrated and has a hallowed feeling to it. It is desecrated. The church gives off a stench of evil, and you kind of, it fills your nostrils with that noxious odor. That being said, you also notice that there are 6 people sitting amongst the pews, facing the altar. They're in the frontmost, on the edge of your, from where you can see, they're on the edge of your vision, just being licked by the torch. You can see 6 individuals sitting at the pews, 3 of which are, no, sorry, all 6 of them are undead.
And the rings, he'll just say, "Well, good news. Found someone. Bad news. They're undead. So,
Can we just throw toe at them and run? No, I didn't think so.
Not without an alignment
We
check.
could.
Well, it would be a bad idea to do that. He's still lucid enough that he would be able to betray us in his last moments.
Y'all are some.
Also, yeah. What about this? Hear me out. Right. We one of us
You
gets
committed
some-
to this cruel course of action.
one of us gets like a rope, right? And we just kind of like put it on Toe, and we kind of like at least try to lure one of them out with him. And then when they go to snatch him, we kind of pull it back fast enough. So we pull Toe back, and then when the one that follows, we'll catch them and ask them questions.
Hey, look, I'm just gonna put it out there. I got a torch on. They haven't turned around to look at me. We can either walk out of here or I can talk. I mean, I don't know. Baroness was friendly enough. Maybe these are gonna be some friendly undead.
Well,
You
there's
say
a
friendly,
problem.
I say betrayer. Yeah.
I'm
Suspicious.
sorry, what?
You say friendly, I say suspicious. Sorry, that's a better word for it. You say friendly, I say suspicious.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying we need a serious like course of action here. You want me to say something? They're not looking at us.
I'd say they probably, if they haven't recognized you, they might if you try to back out. So you might as well commit. Say something to them.
I say I say pretty much exactly the opposite. That we have pushed this about as far as we can, and this is clearly not going in a good direction. I feel like we gave it the old college try. We got to cut our losses and skin out because this is not going to go well.
Let's leave.
I'm with the leave. That's 3. Sorry,
let-
Bilzian.
Let's just close the door
All right.
and
We'll get
pretend we
Ulrich.
just.
Ulrich should leave before we close the door.
So, Ulrich, I get the sense you're backing out at this point, gingerly as you can. Are you trying to stealth, or are you just backing out?
I got a light on. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I was stealthy in the slightest. There's no need to stealth at this point. Just keeping an eye on on them as much as I can.
Yeah. All right. As you back out, I was kind of waiting to see what your action was. One of the figures does slowly turn and look in your direction. As their head turns and they kind of rise, so do the other 5 in unison, and they quickly turn as well and begin moving toward the group.
Wrong house. I dropped the torch and closed the door, and it pushed in. Are they double doors?
They're double doors.
What's their door handle situation?
They're round rungs that can be pull them both shut when you close the door.
Yep. But I did drop the torch inside of the church.
Yes.
Close the door and.
Can those of us standing outside to see them? Say those of us with dark vision.
How far do you see?
Either 30 feet or 60 feet. I think it's 60 feet.
Then they are outside of your vision. You did not see them. They were just on his edge.
Okay, so we didn't see anything more than what he saw.
Yeah, you saw the interior of the room, but you didn't see up toward the altar where they were seated in the frontmost rows. He only saw them because of his... he couldn't even see them because they were on the cusp of his vision until he turned on his divine sense.
Yeah.
Yep. Close the door, drop the fire, hightailing it.
Okay, so Ulrich immediately kind of stops, backs up, drops his torch, backs up, closes the doors quickly, and then just leaves the church.
Yep, we're moving. That's a bad scene. We got to move quick.
Okay, I'm following him.
Let's
Bad
go
mojo.
south out of town.
Roger, with your perception check, you hear many doors open one after the other, dotting throughout the town.
You've gotten everyone's attention. We need to go.
Well,
Is it Quetzalcoatl time? I feel like it's Quetzalcoatl time.
Yep.
okay.
We're about to find out what that lighthouse is for. And I bet it's more like a searchlight.
A searchlight house.
Let's
Sure
get
enough.
going.
All right, who's turning into a Quetzalcoatl?
Belzium?
Toe.
Interesting.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Oh. How we kind of understand how this works, right?
Yeah.
How many polymorphs can Zippo do in a day?
If I have all my spell slots,
Uh-huh.
6.
Okay. Because
That's better than
depending
zero.
Yep. But I'm just kind of curious, like that, because that's 6 hours, and I'm just kind of thinking, like, depending on how our DM would want to rule this, if we have a good understanding, I believe it was a stat that is decreased. Obviously, this is very metagamey, but I'm just gonna put out there, like, what if we just, you know, in the nighttime when we're traveling, keep him as something new every hour with a high enough whatever that stat is.
It's worth a shot. We can see if he's getting worse as an animal or not.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but it does take away spell slots from our biggest artillery.
Yeah, no, that is true. It's a trade-off.
No risk, no
we can
reward.
discuss while we're in the air. So let's get in the air.
All right.
How does Toe handle being turned into a bird thing?
Actually, boys, I have an update. I can actually cast 8 because I can convert spell
Explain.
slot or sorcery points to spell slots.
So, just to fill this out,
Sorry, 7.
So polymorph is a level 4 spell, correct?
Yep.
You have 3 slots of 4th level.
Yep, 2 of 5th, 1 of 6th,
2
and
of
I can
5th.
make 1 more 4th.
1 of 6. And then you can convert another one into 4th. Okay. So 7, yeah. Okay, so you're turning him into a Quetzal.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let me bring up Quetzal.
We are while you're looking. We are at. Are we at dusk? We passed dusk.
We're past dusk at this point, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just gonna-
night.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cast dark vision for Ulrich and I.
Okay. 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 I've made my decision. All right, so you turn um toe into a Quetzal. I assume you explain what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what you tell Toe.
Buddy, we gotta run very quickly. And I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but we may be able, I just realized we may be able to stave off your condition for a little while. We're gonna turn you into the Quetzal, okay?
Okay, and I'll be able to ride you all to see. You'll be able to ride me to safety.
That's the idea, hopefully, yeah.
I'll be like a rock.
You'll be like a rock.
That's right. You'll be rock solid, buddy.
Okay, and this is gonna work.
We'll find out
Pretty
together.
Okay. And if you need me to fight, just let me know.
Hopefully it doesn't come to
Absolutely.
that.
All right. He looks at Zippo and he says, "I'm ready."
Zippo will slap him on the shoulder and cast polymorph.
All right. He turns into a Quetzalcoatl, and he spreads his wings expectantly.
Let's get on.
Let's go.
All right. As you're talking to Toe and getting on, you notice that a group of villagers is making their way quickly through the town toward the group. The doors of the church begin to open as Toe begins kind of hovering to lift off the ground and begin to rise slowly. He clears the ground with 10 feet between you and the ground as he's, so, it takes some time for a creature of that magnitude, especially one who's not used to flying. Instincts take over a little bit there, but he slowly rises off the ground, and you can see that there's a group of people kind of gathering beneath the party, kind of reaching out up to and crying out, looking like they're crying out, but no sound is coming from their mouths. They're reaching out to you. And as you start to rise, that's when you're all kind of watching this group reach at you, and suddenly their bodies begin contorting. Arms snap, necks snap backward. It becomes the group, as they begin clambering over each other to try and climb on top of each other to reach you as you're lifting off, begin to collapse in on themselves and merge until they come to form a mass of arms and legs of people. This massive abomination before you reminds you somewhat of the abomination you met in the Elven Passage, but this is not of rib and organ. This is of people. It's awkwardly shaped. It teeters as an amalgam of flesh and bone. Its entire body made up of the lifeless forms of over 100 villagers. It has 3 great arms that form and rise up, reaching out toward the party as you rise farther and farther away from it. And an eerie green light pulses from deep within it, from the hundreds of gaping mouths that cry out silently. You can see individual lights, and then a gaping maw in the middle of arms, legs, and bodies roaring in a what sounds like a group of people all crying out at once in agony. It comes out as a roar. Across its rotting form, 100 or more mouths snap open, filling the air with a chorus of disjointed wails.
Well, that's disturbing.
But think, if we hadn't come here, we wouldn't have thought to polymorph Toe.
Yeah, exactly. See, I said we would come here and figure out possible solutions, and we did. Now, here's the thing, guys. It's what the fuck are we doing down anymore? I'm feeling with each passing moment, I'm feeling a little less enchanted by the Crowda, and I'm beginning to wonder if we're not wasting our time in this land. Like, there's a part of me that thinks this is a lot of fun. Like a part of me that's more an observer, like a subconscious kind of thing that compels me and thinks it's a lot of fun. But my more conscious aspects here, do y'all feel like we're gonna have any luck with the vampire king and queen? Should we actually go that way? Are we making a mistake?
So, believe me, I hear you, and I do understand. But where does that leave us if we abandon this mission, right? Like, is our mission requirement satisfied? We made good contact with what's her name, the Baroness. I mean, do we consider that a valid attempt?
No. I swore an oath, and as did most of you, to meet with the leaders of each of these three places, us representing Seregen. We met with the council of the clans.
Well, now
we must meet with the leaders of this place to uphold our oath. If you want to break off, that's your decision, but I will carry on.
I want to unpack that a little bit. We made a bond with Reynard. Have I got that name right?
Yes.
Yep. Who went and turned us into the vampires. None of y'all wanted to go see him today.
We couldn't get there today.
Well, yeah, but y'all kind of said, nah, screw that guy. So that bond sure doesn't seem like it's worth shit. And we made an attempt to talk to the leadership here, and the leadership here said, kill them, save one. I'm just kind of wondering if maybe we shouldn't be going back to Seregen and bolstering our forces there. Because I'm not seeing a path forward here that's going to be successful.
As much as I agree with that assessment. I feel like our bond, our oath, was broken when we were betrayed. Now, the larger side of that is all of Seregen is still facing the existential threat of the demonic invasion. Necrata, if it can be swayed, and I don't know if it can, would be an incredibly valuable ally in the fight with Seregen and Relic. But if we can't even get there, I don't know how that's going to be possible. Does that mean going back to Seregen and regrouping and seeing if they can provide us with some additional forces, let them know what's gone on, see what's happened since we've been gone? I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, I stand with you, Roger. Always. We've been through it thick and thin. And if you and the others feel we need to continue south, we continue south. But we have yet to come across a single territory that hasn't immediately led us to disaster in some fashion in these lands. And if they're all going to be like that,
We had
there's a
very
lot
little
of.
peace in Relic either.
Yeah, but at least we could fucking talk to them.
Yeah, at least the people of Relic could be like reasoned with. We can't reason with a homunculus abomination, right? Like the lands of Necrata are far more hostile than the lands of Relic were. Maybe we just haven't found the right place yet. The Baroness was amicable to what we were saying until she got word from the Queen. Maybe there are people out there, but I don't know where we're gonna find them.
Well, but see, that's my worry here. She was amicable until she got word from the person we're supposed to be reasoning with, and there is a lot of miles between us and that person. I'm with you. We if we all want to go south, we go south. We tame ourselves a Draco Lich. We do whatever we can. I think we can rise above, but I think it's worth just saying we're fighting a very much an uphill battle here.
Maybe you're right. Much as it pains me to admit it.
And keep in mind, our original plan was to head south by southwest to the town or the area just north of the wastes and skirt that. So we still have time, right?
Yeah.
We can still get the lay of the land. We can still see between what's us and there. And if our situations and our fortune changes and we find some friendly people that can give us some guidance and provide some kind of insight that we currently lack, then we can change course. But south by southwest towards that unknown settlement in the general vicinity of, I think is still the best option. And if we want to burn a lot of spell slots, we can keep Toe, in kind of, for lack of a better term, some form of stasis. If we keep him polymorphed as fast, large animals that we can use for transport, maybe that kills two birds with one stone.
So the unnamed village that is being mentioned here on the left side of the map, that is a barony that Bavon mentioned is on the outskirts of the vampire baronies. It's the one that's guarding the western front.
To say, is that one of the ones that she mentioned was loyal to Orcus?
No.
Okay.
That was east.
That's over 1,000 miles though. That's a journey. That's a journey. But I mean, that's any place we go in Necrata is going to be. None of that is easy. The mileage almost doesn't even matter at this point.
I mean, it matters a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it still makes a ton of sense to go here.
Well, does it?
Let's do
Yeah.
let's do this. While this discussion is happening, I do want to mention one sensation. So I'm going to have the party, or for those who are talking about, so I guess we could just do this as a general thing. For those involved in the discussion actively, give me let's say a wisdom check. Just a straight wisdom check. Ulrich, as you're talking about abandoning this quest to treat with the queen, you get kind of a sick feeling in your stomach. You just feel like a sinking feeling, like you're yeah, it just made you feel a little queasy and weak.
Okay.
It kind of originates as a throb on your left arm, left forearm, and then kind of settles in your stomach.
Was the left arm where the band, the tattoo?
The marking that faded, yes.
Okay. Well, fuck me. God.
Roger and Yarvik, you do not feel such a feeling.
Well, hey, some good news here, Roger. I had a sensation just now that much as my personal wants are to maybe head back to Seregen, maybe maybe you're right. Maybe we have not accomplished this bond well enough. So we do truly need to sit and entreat with the queen. I just felt kind of a pulse emanate from where the marking was all the way to my stomach.
It was a magical oath.
Yes, it was.
One sealed with real power. Not just a promise we made.
But does the oath have a time frame? Can we still satisfy the oath by going and getting reinforcements and coming back from a position of greater power?
We promised to try once for each of Relic and Necrata the diplomatic way before we tried by force. Although Reynard did warn us we might need to try by force.
Well, that's fine. You can be diplomatic with a big stick. Nothing says you have to use the big stick, merely the implication of having the big stick sometimes is persuasive enough.
I understand.
At the same time, these vampire folks don't seem to be easily intimidated.
Yep.
True.
So, I mean, as we fly kind of in a lazy southwestern direction here, are we gonna go to that unknown barony, or are we gonna go, more towards Manir?
Manier's a straighter shot.
Sure is.
Well, it does seem like the queen doesn't want us to come to her or even exist anymore. What if we could get her to come out and see us?
On the contrary, she did want to meet one of you. It seems like she did
one
want
of
you to
us.
come.
Only
Yeah,
one,
one
but
of
not all
us.
of us.
I don't think there's
A
gonna
package
be
deal.
But remember, the queen and king rule both separately and together.
Yep.
They have all the cards. There's nothing's going to get them out of that mountain.
Well, an army would.
What would be really good is if we could figure out whatever these statues are, if we could figure out the means by which they allow the vampires to control the day and night cycle. That would be, I mean, we assume that that's what that does. We don't know, but we assume that that's what that does.
Zippo,
That would be
you're an expert
incredibly-
with arcane relics.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could look at them. Take a few hours off of pondering your orb.
All right, so
Try on the next race.
Yeah, I'm liking this discussion, but it is night, and we do have a kind of an active situation at hand. So we've directed Toe to kind of fly in kind of in the continued direction that we were planning on traveling, which is over here, right? Like due west. So I talked to Zippo on the side during the discussion, so I wouldn't interrupt. So my this isn't necessarily something I'll keep up on going, but in this case, kind of feeling out how Zippo wants to do this. He wants to, if he can, continue the concentration of the polymorph by casting it toward the end of it so that he can get a fresh polymorph in. So he's basically polymorphing Toe while he's polymorphed. Typically speaking, you can't really cast a concentration spell while you're concentrating. So basically what I'm trying to do is he's trying to basically make it uninterrupted by casting one on top of the other, and if he makes a high enough concentration check, I'll allow it because I'm getting what he wants to do. Does that work for everyone?
I mean, it logically it makes sense. I think though it probably would be safer to just land and recast it on the ground.
I mean, you can still land and do that same thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if everybody's okay with this plan, or does anybody have any alternatives?
That
mean, I'm fine
makes
with
sensical to me.
I'm fine with landing personally, but
I think landing, but overall the plan is sound to go from polymorph to polymorph. I know that's going to take a lot out of Zippo. It's basically going to keep him out of commission while we're commuting. If he needs to maintain concentration the whole time.
The last question is, so typically speaking, this point in time, you'd be resting for the night. Is this still going to be the plan once we're in keep Toe polymorphed until day?
We have to change our schedules. We have to travel at night.
Okay, so
yeah,
if
there's no
yeah.
sleeping at night.
Yeah, we have to flip.
so if you're traveling at night, you're going to make less time, kind of, by continuing to transform Toe. So the progress is, yeah, okay. I think I understand the process.
It's slower than maybe flying at full speed, but it is faster than walking. So
Yeah, it is faster than walking, for sure. And you can pretty much take any direction you want without regarding for the river, because you can just fly over it when you get there, things like that.
Yeah. And if Toe's happy for us to do it that way, I think that'll work out pretty well.
Yeah. Zippo, I need you to roll a D100 for me, please.
85.
Okay. All right. I like these creative solutions. That's what D&D is all about.
Indeed.
All right. So the plan is to for the rest of the night continue traveling without rest. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
Yeah.
Without rest, except for to re up the spell.
Yeah, I don't think we have a whole lot of choice tonight, unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, if we spot
Zippo's not
if
getting
we
any
spot
rest regardless,
somewhere,
right?
well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. About halfway through the first flight, could I have, who would like to do so I'm gonna, no, I'll roll. All right, so let's see here. All right, we're gonna roll once. All right.
Hey guys, hang on, I'm gonna tune out here for a minute. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so mid-flight, Poe as the Quetzalcoatl, while he's flying, suddenly kind of freezes up some, and kind of you kind of go into a slight dip as he kind of cries out in agony as the Quetzalcoatl, before he kind of regains his flapping and continues, kind of shaking his head.
Well, that kind of informs us a little bit on something, doesn't it?
Of turbulence?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like there's a distinct possibility that he may still be slowly losing himself from the curse, right? I mean, the
But
way
what if?
his
Okay, I know this. Sorry for interrupting, but I just thought about this because it might be a possibility. What if where we're polymorphing him into the Quetzal and his stats are changing? It's taking it from the Quetzal stats, and so when I repolymorph him, it'll up the stat again.
I mean that's the hope, but my fear is, you know, what if what if he what if he loses himself while we're in the air?
That is a good fear.
Perhaps we should fly lower.
Belzian and I will land just fine, and the rest of you, unfortunately, will die.
Oh, I'll be fine. I can cast a spell to keep myself up a little.
I'm gonna fucking hold on to you until both of us fall to our death, if that's the case, Roger.
I'd like. I am too slippery.
If it happens and I still have a higher level spell slot, I'll use my spell once first. I can have a backup plan. It might not be a great backup plan, and it might not even work, but it's a backup plan nonetheless.
If the ground counts as an attack, I can uncanny dodge the ground.
Dodge the ground.
I had
That's just how
flying.
you fly. Is you
Yeah.
jump towards the ground and miss.
And you miss, yeah.
I was in a game where a player tried to say he casts shield as he gets ready to impact the ground. None of that works that way.
No.
My as a heads up, my backup plan is if for some reason the Quetzal loses its head and we start falling, I don't know if I'll be able to, but I will try to cast summon a draconic spirit and see if that can at least try to catch us.
That's a lot of fun. I mean,
And at the very least, if it doesn't, it'll at least give me a chance to fly towards the ground.
Zarek, give me strength. I feel like we should land. Like we're really taking a chance here that's not gonna play out well if things do go south real quick. I'm sorry to just keep changing things on us, but
I liked my original plan.
Missing the ground.
Just executing Toe as a mercy.
yeah, no, I'm not entirely far from it. But I'm more concerned about landing first.
Let us lower our altitude while we still have the ability to.
Yeah. How low can he fly?
We can fly very low. If you want him to continue flying, though, we may need to keep some altitude.
Yeah.
We may have to turn him into a different beast.
Yeah, that's true. We could always try that. But
Let's try flying like maybe 30 feet off the ground. There's not a lot of trees around, so we don't have to worry about that, and it's high enough up that we can pull up if we need to, or down if we need to.
We
And
can
we could
survive falling 30 feet, right?
Yeah,
probably.
it might hurt, but none of us are likely to die.
And we may still be a bit beat up from the Baroness, since we haven't really had an opportunity to rest.
Yeah, I mean, we get close to 30 feet as we can.
Okay. So you direct Quetzalcoatl to
Nice.
fly low. I've planned a name for almost everyone in the party if they turn into Quetzalcoatl. Like Quetzalcoatl Rick. All right, so he's flying low to the ground. Yeah, you're about, I would say, about 30 feet from the ground without incurring any like loss of flight. You're flying at 80 feet around.
Beady.
It's just double
It's,
Belzian speed, that's all. All right. So I heard some suggestions for different routes. What's the plan now? Are we continuing with the plan as is? Are we changing it?
And I'm back.
I say we just go directly towards Maynir. It's the quickest way there. And when we're resting during the day, when Toe's not gonna be, losing his mind, I can try to study the thing on the way. Hopefully by the time we get there, I've figured at least one thing out. Even if it's just how to activate it and control it myself. Because if it does what I think it does, if I can take control of it and just make it a consistent daytime, I think that'd be a pretty good convincer for the vampires to help us. If it does what we assume it does, which none of us know because none of us have had the chance to study it yet.
Okay.
Step away. So what? So the choices. What are the two choices that we're looking at?
We can head straight to Mahnir, or we can go to the extra barony that was near the wall and then to Mahnir.
Well, I mean, those were the existing choices as is. I think
Yeah.
the more pressing course that I'm questioning is, are we continuing with the Quetzalcoatl plan with Toe, or are we trying something else?
I would say
Because we talked about keeping him low. Is that enough? Is everybody good with that?
I think that's
think
the
that
best option.
I think that's the
Let's
best
go.
option until another one presents itself.
Go with the flow and keep Toe low,
Yes.
Okay. You put the town behind you. The monstrosity disappears into the darkness as you set your sights to the west, flying low to the ground. It's dark, and with your limited range of vision, you're not really able to see any specks of light on the horizon. It's fairly quiet. You're not sure if you're gonna run into any other monstrosities in the dark. It's just kind of you're wandering blind in the darkness. Yes, you can see in a 60-foot radius, but with the oppressing openness of this plane, you just feel incredibly exposed when you're in the realm of creatures of the night. Zippo, you feel the edges of your spell are approaching. What do you do?
I get ready to redo it.
Okay. Ulrich, do you land?
Yeah,
Huh.
I think Ulrich would land just in case. Better to land and have to take off. I mean,
Yeah.
than risk the possibility of whoops, it went bad.
Yeah. Okay. Zippo, go ahead and roll concentration.
Hot dog, boys. I'm rolling good tonight.
Okay.
Trying to see if I have inspiration. No, I don't. Never mind.
If anybody else has inspiration, you are able to spend it on a party member. If you want to use it. If not, that's okay too. All right. So Toe comes out of his form as you start casting the polymorph, and then you say something to him, I assume, as he comes out, looks bewildered.
Hey, buddy, you doing good? We're gonna turn you back.
And with that, Zippo casts it again, and he turns back into Quetzalcoatl.
Heck yeah.
He looked more gray and more haggard when he came out of it, although some color came back to him as he came to form, and then he turned into the Quetzalcoatl again. So just giving you a brief impression. All right.
How Quetzalcoatl looking?
So Toe is back in Quetzalcoatl form. I assume you mount back up and continue.
Yes.
All right. As a heads up, this is this forced march. While you're not actually walking yourselves, this is going to incur a point of exhaustion for each of you by the end of the night. As a heads up.
Yep.
Makes sense.
You're riding without saddle on a flying creature, getting off and on constantly, maintaining spells. It's just it's a lot. All right, Zippo, about halfway through the spell. I'll need to make another roll. Okay. All right. So, as you're flying along, Toe screams out in agony again as he pulls back with his wings suddenly, as he cries out in extreme agony, shaking his head back and forth. And those of you hanging on to Toe, which are, I believe, we can only have 3 on the back, and then the other 2 are being carried in the claws. I think that's the formation we have. Those of you holding on feel immediately the skin of the Quetzalcoatl go cold. You kind of had this warm feeling of motion, as the great beast is working its wings over and over, just warmth and friction. But like a shiver goes over the body, and then it suddenly goes cold. And the flare up stops, and then there's one final flap, and then the Toe drops from the sky and collapses down on the ground. His body begins to reform back into a human, but as it's doing so, his head begins to tear from his body. So what happens is the head tears off of the Quetzalcoatl as it's turning back into a human and sprouts wings as it thuds to the ground and begins flapping as this great beaked amalgam of human and Quetzalcoatl begins to hover into the air, cry out, and begin to fly away.
We can't let that escape. I'm going to shoot it
No.
down, or
Yeah.
at least try to.
Also saying.
Yep, same.
Okay, go ahead and roll attacks.
27 to hit.
Okay, that's a hit.
18.
All three will hit.
I'm also like if I can get like an attack of opportunity with a weapon or something as it
So
flies away.
you all kind of are on the ground. So it is able to move. I'm gonna say it sprouts the wings and begins to hover as you kind of recover from falling. Actually, that's a good point. Thank you for reminding me. You're all gonna take 6 points of damage from. For those of you who take damage from falls. Because you're not really being supported by flight anymore. Belzian, you have featherfall, right? Of some sort.
Slow fall. Yeah.
Slow fall. And then Roger, what do you have?
Nothing.
Okay. So you take 6 then.
Yep.
In terms of from there, you're able to get up as it begins to fly away. So Ulrich, I would say you could try closing with it, but not as quickly as these folks are going to be shooting at it because they've got range advantage.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That being said, with Roger's arrow, Jaeger's arrow, and then Atomic, you hit as well. What are you shooting with? I'm assuming
Chromatic
Firebolt.
orb.
Oh, Chromatic Orb. Okay.
Yep.
Chromatic Orb is acid, right?
I can pick its damage. I picked lightning this time.
Okay. All right. As 2 arrows and lightning, which it looks like you rolled with the acid bow, Roger, and then Jaeger rolled with just the normal arrow.
I used a sonic arrow.
Sonic arrow. Okay.
So 13 plus 3 sonic damage.
So in a final act of honor to Toe, you basically create a fireworks show as his head explodes in lightning, force, and acid, and disintegrates in front of you.
Well, that was a mess. Roger, we could have avoided that if we didn't try and, save him like you wanted.
We
Did not see that
failed you,
coming.
though.
At least now we know for future reference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was an
fucking
excellent idea. Unfortunately, with the curse does carry over forms. So basically, I was treating it as every hour he was losing a point of charisma, regardless of his body, and Quetzalcoatl have 5 charisma. So once he hit 2, that was it.
Well, thank you very much for not trying that plan on me.
I didn't have the spell at the time.
We didn't know what it would look like. We didn't know what the consequences were necessarily, and we had a much better chance of saving you. We did all we could
Yep.
for Toe,
I feel bad for the guy.
We did.
despite my protesting.
Do we need to do anything with the body, or is it fine without? I mean,
Is he headless right now?
He is.
Bury him face down, or torso down, I guess.
Too soon.
Roger, please.
Or just disintegrate it.
I don't believe we have disintegrate yet.
Like, that's a Zippo question.
No, I don't, sadly.
Well,
Belzian will give him like a prayer from the 12.
next time I'm just executing the prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, if that's our, if the, if we don't have a solution, a cure in immediate proximity, yeah, absolutely.
And if it were to happen to me, I'd expect you all to do the same. Don't put me through that.
Also, just as a heads up, Zippo's plan would have only gotten you one. So Zippo, actually, so Zippo, you are out of all your high level spells at this point because we haven't rested since the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've got 1 5th level spell right now because I used the sorcery point 4th level to get the last casting.
okay.
So
And
that
you
brings
had a
up-
4th level spell left before
I
that?
did before
Okay.
when we first cast it on him.
Yeah.
So that brings up a good point. We really need to try to get some kind of rest. Do we want to take the rest of this night and just try to get some shut eye? Since we don't have to travel, we don't have to travel in reverse anymore. We can revert to a regular circadian rhythm. I would say we're not in an ideal spot to rest, but no place in Necrata is an ideal spot to rest. So
Anybody have any other thoughts?
I definitely need the rest. I am very injured and I have no big boy hit spells except 1.
How crammed is it inside of yours bag?
Pretty crammed.
Yeah, Brunhild is cramped in there.
Yep. All right. Well, fucking, let's see if we can find something to hunker under at the very least. Maybe an overhang, or I don't know, just something that doesn't have us so much out in the open like this.
Um, Judging from your observations of the terrain and knowing plains, Yarvik, you know that there's not really going to be any type of cover nearby. There's not even tall grass.
well, if this is my thought is if this is a floodplain, or if it looked like based on earlier descriptions, there should be some kind of defilade cover at least below ground level, some kind of crack or fissure or creek bed or area where water runoff may once have run that we can at least get out of eye shot from level ground. Won't do any good from above us. But natural, even plains have natural
Mhm.
rises and falls.
Yep.
And if we could situate ourselves into one of those depressions, then at least it gets us out of eye shot, which
Okay,
is better than nothing.
that's fair enough. All right, so you travel a little bit more on foot as you kind of look for some natural declines, and eventually, after about 30 to 40 minutes of searching, you find something that satisfies what you're looking for, and you point it out.
Obviously, I think this is a no fire night. We're pretty much just going to be roughing it.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So who's doing watch?
Let's let Zippo sleep. Roger will take first watch.
Ulrich will join.
Yeah,
Ervik will
Belly
take
can
his,
do second. Yeah.
Ervik will take his customary second watch.
Right. All right. Those who are doing first watch, go ahead and roll. Is it just Roger?
Ulrich is supposedly with me.
Yep.
Need me to roll for you?
Nope. Rolled a 4.
Okay.
It's in the Beyond log.
Oh, that's weird that it didn't update in here.
I'm not at my computer. I'm down
Right,
doing
right.
laundry still.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. All right. Roger keeps watch. Ulrich contemplates the occurrences of the day.
If that ever happens to me, Ulrich, kill me.
Oh, Roger, you don't need to ask me to kill you.
No, clearly I need to insist more strongly.
No, I think you're really underestimating how much more I like Toe than you. No, I would have fought for you as much as I possibly could. Yeah. No, it's death going forward. I don't feel good about any of this, Roger. I really
I
You
mean,
know,
I said that months ago when we had the when we had the scepter, the key to the wall.
yeah, you did. But I'll note I didn't say, "Hey, let's put the thing in the wall." That was
Not that I'm keeping score, but I've been right every time.
You know what? I don't know if that's entirely true, but I think you've been right a fair amount of time. And I think I will say I think I was still right with the Baroness. The problem was we didn't have the leverage we needed to get her on our side. She could have been an ally. And I think we needed to let her know what we had to get her there, but I don't know.
We've debated that one enough.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying my point is that
How do we move forward?
right. Like I get we've got a magical bond, but what's our solution here? You know, I can't I played the barbarians for fools a little bit. I played their games. I got in their heads where I could, as did you. I don't think we can do that with the vampires.
We know too little about this place, and we have no allies here.
Yep. Do you What did it feel like when the war was coming to an end?
It never felt like it
For
did.
you? Well, I mean,
It's not like we ever stopped.
no, but we suddenly were on the same side.
What are you getting at?
When things looked bad, when it was clear that I was on the losing side, you could see it. You could feel it. It felt like death was around the corner. Here, there aren't any fucking corners. It's all death. I feel like no matter what direction we go, we're just going to die. Because what's going to happen is we're going to continue a march. Doesn't matter if we go west, doesn't matter if we go north, doesn't matter if we go east, south. Doesn't matter if we fly fucking straight up into the sky. That'll be a Dracolich. I think, Roger, that one of us is going to die here, and we'll be lucky if it's just one.
About to say, how optimistic of you.
Yeah.
When I said I would go there alone if you all abandoned the oath, I meant that. But I don't expect that to be a two-way trip. I don't know another way, but if we can come up with one, we need to take it.
Yeah.
Because you're right. There's no convincing the queen. Maybe an audience with the king. If only we knew which leader which baronies were aligned to. If only we knew where the seats of all the baronies were.
Well, that's the fucking
maybe
thing of it.
Then maybe we would know where to start.
See, that's exactly. You weren't. I didn't talk too much about when I was imprisoned by the barbarians. I fucked with that guy's mind. I talked with him. I told him all sorts of lies, and I got him to reveal tons of information about Relic. And it didn't end up being stuff I really needed in the end, because there were much friendlier people in Relic besides the Axe clan. We need a patsy. We need someone who's going to inform us. I mean, we did it all the time when we were searching out the seditionists. We always found someone who was weak of character, weak of wits, that could give us the information we needed. We just need that right person who's in enough power, but not enough power that it matters for them. I thought the Baroness was going to be it, but if we get going straight to their fucking capital is the most direct and shortest path. But if we go to the west first, to that unknown barony, only thing we know is they're not sided with Orcus. If we go there and we can find someone, their baron or baroness or whatever, someone in power, I don't know. Does that make sense at all? Is that worthwhile? Or have I just lost it all?
Well, it's a longer trip, but it's worth a shot. And it's not like we weren't going to be trekking for hundreds of miles across dangerous territory anyway.
Right.
It's my only concern is if they are aligned with the queen and the queen is competent at all, then everyone
Which she sure seems to be, yeah.
Then all of her baronies know. They know who to look for, at least in broad strokes. They know what we have. I mean, Roger points at your bag.
Yeah.
And they know not to take prisoners. I mean,
Maybe we need to not have it for real.
How do we get rid of it? How do we get rid of it in a way that they can't find it? Burying it in the ground is no good.
Well, it's only no good because we can't get back here quick. And we don't have any real markers, and we don't have any, I don't think they're gonna find it in the ground necessarily.
It wouldn't surprise me at this point to learn that the dirt here is all aged bone dust. And Roger kicks a stone.
That is valid.
A whole land is evil. Why not the ground too?
Yep.
If we could get them out of Necrata,
Yeah. Again, that's all the more reason to go to that unknown barony there. That's just a hop skip right back home.
wow. I'm willing to risk it.
In the meantime, I could. I mean, it works on undead. I assume it's going to work on vampires. I could, oh God, create some holy water, and we could store them inside a bottle of holy water.
Better idea than anything I've got.
Well, there we go. There's that.
Why don't we
It's a
why don't we sleep on it, huh?
yep.
All
Alright.
right. Let's wake up second watch and let them know that nobody's come to kill us yet. I'm long overdue for a trance.
Right. Second watch is Belzian and Yarvik.
Yep.
The two shake you awake to begin your watch.
I don't wanna, but I will.
Those Canadian rolls. All right. Jaeger, you notice that the nights in Necrata, at least in this plane, are mainly filled with the sound of insects and not as much the cries of other wildlife. Aside from that, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Interesting.
Sadiq Ano, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. All right.
It's crazy to think that less than 24 hours ago, we were in an ancient keep having dinner with Vampire Queen, Baroness, whatever. And just a little while ago, we exploded Toe's head. That's a very strange 24 hours.
It's been quite busy, but sometimes life really does throw you all sorts of curves like that, you know?
I feel like we've had a lot more curves and a lot less straights, you know? It's definitely been a run.
Been more like an obstacle course than a run.
Yeah, true. True.
Poor Toe, we really let that guy down.
Part of me, I feel bad for the guy, but he kind of died because he was stupid. He didn't have to be here. We did everything.
mean-
we did everything we could for him.
I don't think we had to be here either until we, took that bond.
True. Hindsight being 2020, not sure if I would have sworn that, but
Well, someone's got to do it.
someone's got to do it. I mean, whether or not we get Necrata on board, we still got to figure out something with these demons, Whether Seregen even knows yet or not, maybe. I mean, the vampires are just going to hide underneath their mountain. So if they're going to fight this alone, we can get Seregen and Relic on the same side. That's a whole lot better than where we started.
I think we need to get everybody, or at least try. But like I said, maybe we can get the vampire queen to come out to us instead of going to see her.
Yeah, maybe.
And there's always the king.
I feel like she didn't get to be the vampire queen by being stupid, though. She doesn't have to leave her mountain. She's got however many high-level vampires to do her bidding for her, like the Baroness. I know not all of them may be aligned with her. Some may be aligned with the king, but that's a tough nut to crack.
I think we may have to seek some more resources.
Agreed.
And also not let them die.
That's the trick, isn't it?
Belzian will spend the rest of his watch uttering prayers for Toe.
Yes, Yarvik is just going to stare pensively off into the distance.
All right. Your watch ends, and third watch begins. Do you wake up Zippo? All right. It's Zippo, and then Roger at some point wakes up from his trance as well. Okay. Zippo, what are you doing during your watch?
I suppose kind of just looking out on the plane. Well, he doesn't have the two swan things, so he would try to see if he could check on them while he's keeping watch, but he doesn't have them, so
Yeah.
he's going to he's just gonna sit there until and just look out to like maybe hoping. I know it's probably not what the party wants, but kind of hoping he sees a Draco Lich. He's very fascinated by those things, so he's kind of like, oh, please let me just see one.
It's one of your better roles for watch, so it's nice to see that the reason why is because the motivations of keeping watch are because you're really looking at for a Draco Lich.
Yeah.
All right. So on your watch, you don't really see anything of a Draco Lich shape. You do see quite large looking spiders that seem to be white in color. They kind of almost look like it looks like they're made out of little skeletal bones. They're not. They're actual spiders. They're not undead spiders by any means, but they have a creepy look about them. They seem to keep away from you. They almost move like they're crabs. They kind of walk sideways, and they have like hands that they kind of like tap at things on. They touch rocks and then continue move on, almost like they're feeling around blind in the night.
Okay.
While you're watching, a cricket jumps from a rock, and the spider kind of jumps to meet it, gets it in midair, and begins to eat it. Not too far from you, about maybe 6 feet away.
And you said they were like pretty big spiders, or
Yeah, so they would be about the size of a human hand, so fairly large for you.
gotcha. Okay. Zippo will take a very poorly drawn note of those spiders.
Okay. Anything else you're doing?
I kind of want to check my stones, but as I'm the only one awake at the moment, I'm not going to.
I say Roger will wake up eventually.
Yeah, Zippo will kind of just sit there and just keep looking out, hoping he sees a Draco Lich at some point for the rest of his watch.
Yeah. All right. Fairly shortly, morning comes. You're all feeling quite sore and emotionally exhausted, but you do get a full night's rest, so disregard that exhaustion comment. You can do a long rest, so heal them things, restore them spells, the likes. Click on that long rest button.
We do like us a long rest button.
I'm full of sadness, but also full of key.
A fist that can unlock any door.
Even ones
I-
that require you to pull instead of push.
You know, we're all waking up, but Belzian's really the only one that's got the key to life.
Haha.
All right, so it's morning. The party is awake. Have you buried Toe yet?
I thought we did.
I believe there was mention of burying him chest first, but did anybody actually make actions to do it?
I mean, Ulrich would not let that be out overnight.
Okay. Do you have a shovel?
I almost certainly do.
I
Let me
recall
double-check
at
that.
least one shovel, but I'm just checking.
Somehow I do not have a shovel. I have a pickaxe.
Yes, that's been traditionally what you've used instead of a shovel, Roger, I believe. I think this has come up before.
The pickaxe is recent. What I was using previously was hammer and pythons.
Yes. I think you got the pickaxe in the mines, though.
No, I got the pickaxe from the Bronze Clan.
Oh yeah,
on account
that's right.
Of me using hammer and pythons to try and get around stuff.
Right. Yep. They made fun of you for it.
Yeah, I guess I still don't have a shovel.
Okay.
It just comes up in every campaign I've ever been in.
Well, I haven't had the chance to buy one.
Okay, so you used a pickaxe to break the ground. It took some time, but you were able to last night before, or even during the watch. Maybe it was part of
Maybe
your
that's
discussion.
Yeah,
Since you got a
before, like,
4.
yeah,
I made Ulrich do all the work.
You helped push
That
some
makes
dirt
sense.
in. All right. So, path of travel, we're continuing west. On foot?
Sounds good.
Or are we going to implement the Quetzalcoatl plan, but with a different party member?
That might not be terrible, but it's at those spell slots, so
Yeah.
I do think time is of the essence here, not necessarily because of Orcus invasion, but because we're in hostile territory.
Well, I think personally, either way it goes, I'm fine. But spell slots, I'm fine with using them. Just know if we get into a combat situation, that will not be very useful. But if we don't use the spell slot one and we just walk, I can get on Broomhild or Carry or something. I might be able to study those swans if we want to see if I can maybe figure out what they're doing or how they're doing it.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you guys. I'm okay with either way because I'm not 100%. I'll be able to figure it out while we're traveling.
We can always alternate. We don't have to do all of one or all of the other. We can alternate by days or half day or whatever.
That too.
Are you willing to spend, let's say, 2 spell slots on us flying, and then the other 6 hours of the day studying the things? The
I mean, I'm
swans?
down to spawn to do 8 or 7 hours of flying if you want.
Let's try and keep some of your high level spell slots in case we get into trouble.
Fair enough.
I think I'm comfortable starting with us burning like 2 or 3, just for speed reasons. Because it almost triples our movement, right? And well, that gets us at least a sizable fraction further than we would have by just walking.
That works for me.
And if it turns out that this part of Necrata is just desolate and there's not much to encounter at all, if we're not being harassed at night, or not encountering things during the day, maybe we can bump that up a little bit to speed the journey along. But I'd still rather be careful.
That works.
All right. So who's turning into the Quetzalcoatl?
Belsian?
Ooh, my turn. My turn.
Okay. I will high
Alright.
five Belzian and polymorph him into a Quetzalcoatl.
Okay. Who's in the claws? It's Zippo and Yarvik traditionally, right? Because they're the smallest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. All right. So Belzian lifts off with the party in tow, and you begin flying in a westerly direction for an hour. An hour's travel puts you in sight of the river. You can kind of see the river kind of appear along the horizon. You're flying a medium height since there's not as much fear of Belsian suddenly erupting into a head. So at your height, you can kind of see the river curve both from the south and then it doubling back on itself some. You don't see that full curve from where you are at the moment. It's a fairly large amount of distance there. So, but Roger, you immediately spot that the river has several watercraft upon it. It looks like a grouping of 4 boats.
4 boats. We need to get down now.
Okay.
Yep, no argument from me.
3 of the boats are smaller, and then there's a main lead boat that is in the lead. They seem to have sails, and they are riding the current. The sails are not down at the moment; they're furled.
I know it's not the best idea because it would be leading us, possibly into more trouble. But if we want to take a boat, I can change the direction of the wind and make it to where the sails are always in our favor.
That'll be a good thing to keep in mind when we come back to Manir if we want to avoid the waste.
Yep.
But for now, I think it's best just to try and not be noticed.
As a clarification as well, the ships are traveling north along the river toward the curve, away from Malkavia.
Gotcha.
Oh, because we're on the other side of the curve, right?
And I think
You're-
so the group you're getting lower to try and not be spotted at this point. It is a plane, so there's not really much in the way of cover, but getting lower will at least not make you such a target. Go
and
ahead.
distance from the river. If we veer off north towards the forest, perhaps they will not notice us.
Okay.
I guess alternately we could try and go as high as possible to just look like a bird. But I think that's inviting trouble. Anyone that's out during the day is probably an elf, and elves are keen-eyed.
That's true. I mean, I still remember the day that you told me why it is that that you could see why kids like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's a
It's
joke
true.
for a certain generation.
it's
I get it.
true.
So anyway, we try and stay out of sight.
So are you going high, low, or north for that? You guys give
Low
me
and
a lot of
north.
options. I'm just trying to clarify which.
Laura, no, if not high.
we have the issue surrounded.
We know it's not high. I think it's low and northish, personally. Like combine the two.
All right.
Yeah, like unfortunately they're going the same direction we're going, but like if we veer off far enough to the north, they just like won't be looking at us at all. We'll be too far away.
Yeah.
I fly non-threateningly.
All right. As you veer away, a further description of the ships is since they are traveling with the current at the moment, and their ships, the sails are not down, you can just make out that they are being rowed from a lower deck. Mainly the main ship. The smaller ships have a few of these as well. And with that, as you're taking cover and trying to get away from sight of the ships, I think it's a good place to end the session for tonight.
Dun dun dun.
Or come back and the forest is going to be alive.
It'll just be corpses.
Fair enough.
Trees made out of bodies.
Fairly dark session tonight for our first time back, but a good one, I would say.
Oh yeah.
So we've got
Welcome back, everybody.
we've got one last session for the year, and that's the 19th of December. So I want to double check and make sure that that's doable for everyone since it is close to the holidays.
It works for me.
Sounds good.
I'm good.
I believe I am.
Okay.
January 2nd might be tricky, but I should be able to make that work. But I'm definitely good for the 19th.
Okay. We can always discuss what our new schedule will look like for the new year. But let's at least get the last one under our belt, and we can talk about it next time or in the off channel. But for those of you out there in Twitch land, thank you again for joining us. It's been an absolute treat being with you for 61 sessions, and we look forward to many more. So we'll see you for the last one of the year in 2 weeks at 7:30ish Eastern Standard Time, where we will see what happens next with our group. See you then.
Bye-bye. Just 3 more sessions till we get a nice round number.